lagi di Cikal.
Beneran?
Anak kita akan menampilkan hasil belajarnya selama 1 tahun ini.
Dan akan ada kegiatan juga yang menarik, kreatif, dan seru yang bisa kita ikuti.
Semuanya secara virtual.
Pastikan untuk nonton, untuk melihat keseruan anak-anak ya.
Hanya di
Playground of Learning Journey.
Physically distant, virtually connected.
Hello audience. Hello viewers. Good afternoon, respected teacher, guests, proud parents, and beloved students. Welcome to Cikal Talk, one of the activities in our playground of Cikal learning event. Thank you for coming today. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. I am Miss Dira, and I will be your moderator for this session. Before we begin the individual students presentation, let me give you a picture of what to expect for the next hour. We have few students from year 11 Sekolah Cikal Serpong here that will present their reflection of their learning journey. Each student will have a maximum of 10 minutes for the talk. And once they're finished, we can start the Q&A session using chat room. We will open a question and answer session for 15 minutes. The audience is more than welcome to ask the question to the presenters. Okay, today's speakers are Fikri Alaika Rahman from year 11 Sekolah Cikal Serpong, Arya Gaung Gentajiwa from year 11 Sekolah Cikal Serpong, and Luna Ayesha Hadim Sutrasno from year 11 Sekolah Cikal Serpong. So without any further ado, let's begin our first speaker, Fikri. Fikri, are you ready?
Hi. Yes, I'm ready, miss.
Hi, Fikri. How are you
Hi.
doing?
I'm fine, miss. Thank you.
You're fine? Great. So, Fikri will present about his learning journey. It's on math and it's about math journal. Am I right, Fikri?
Yes, miss. It's about my mathematics journal of solving linear programming.
Solving linear program. So, without any further ado, let's give warm welcome to Fikri. Fikri, the time is yours.
Thank you, miss. Hello and welcome to my talk. In this session, I will be sharing you guys about my learning journey of solving linear programming. What is linear programming? Linear programming is a mathematical modeling technique in which a linear function is maximized or minimized when subjected to various constants. There are three elements of linear programming. The first one is constant, the second one is variables, and the third one is objective function. This is an example of a linear programming case, which soon we will find out the answer to the question. Taylor has 20 meters of point cloth and 20 meters of straight fiber in stock to make two kinds of clothing. When the A coating requires 1 meter frame and 3 meters of fiber. When the B coating requires 2 meters of frame cloth and 1 meter of fiber. When the A coats are sold at a price of 180,000 per piece, and when the B coats are sold at 120,000 per piece. The maximum income the tailor can earn is alright. Now we need to identify the constants, variables, and objective functions in the case. We can identify the constants in the case first. As you can see, 20 meters of pencil and 20 meters of silk fabric could be one of the examples of constants. One meter rain and 3 meters silk fabric and 2 meters of pencil and 1 meter of silk fabric are also identified as constraints. Since there are no more constants left, I think, in the case, we can move on to the identifying variables. Model A could be one of the variables in question, which will be labeled in green color. Normally, there are two variables in the case of linear programming. If you can see the pattern from the first example of a variable, which is model A, we can mark model B as another set of variables. After we find all sets of variables, we can find the objective functions in this case. Let's see. Ooh, model A code is sold at a price of 180,000 per piece, and model B codes are sold at 120,000 per piece. Those are a pair of objective functions that we can label it in red color for later use. And now, we can put the elements of the variable's objective function and constraints into calculation. For variables, since we have found the two sets of variables, we can put it into our calculation. Model A can be x, while model B can be y. After that, we need to know the objective function of the case. Which is maximizing the income the seller can get, which is 180,000 times 180,000 x plus 120,000 y. 180,000 x plus 120,000 means that we should multiply 180,000 with coordinate x, while 120,000 times with coordinate y for in the later use. After that, we can calculate the constraint. X plus less or equal than 20. X is more or equal than 0, and y is equal or more than 0. After that, we need to find the fourth function using investment calculator. In this case, I use the decimal station calculator. For this one, I skip the part where I calculate the fourth function, so it will be much. As you can see in the screen, I have plotted the constraint fourth function. The first one that we need to calculate is what 0, 0. It would be 180,000 times x, correct? 120,000 times x. For this one, I skipped the part where I calculate the fourth function using this function calculator. But as you can see, I have shown the result from my calculation in the screen. So the first function that we need to calculate is what 0, 0. The calculation would be 180,000 times 0 plus 120,000 times 0 equals to 0. The next one for 0 times, which would be 180,000 times 0 plus 120,000, and 1,200,000. The next was for 8. 180,000 times 4 plus 120,000 times 8 equals to 720,000 plus 950,000, which will be equal to 1,600,000. Next step is for 6.70. 180,000, 6.7 plus 120,000 times 0, which would be 1,206,000. Now, based on our calculation from the first question, we can see that protocol 8 has the highest total, which means that the maximum income the parent can get is 1,680,000 rupees, which gives us the answer to the question. Thank you for watching, and see ya.
Okay, hello Rifki. A very nice presentation. So, do you mind to explain, or do you mind to explain again with the simple wording? What's the graphic all about?
Oh, the
What does
graphic
it
in
what does it
the
show in the graphic?
the graphic in the part where I calculate the constraints, the graphic contains four. So basically, in linear programming, after you plot the constraints, from those plot constraints, you need to put it on the decimal scaling calculator, which then it will make a line, and within those line, if you put all of those four plot constraints, it will become it will make a shape. In the shape, you need to plot each line that connects with each other, the line that intersects with each other. You need to plot the point in which then it will become four of them. Yeah, the four plot is the result from those calculations.
Okay, really cool. And do you know what happened if two graph intersect with each other? What do you call the intersection of two graph?
I think I call it the plot, the dot. I think.
The dots.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
Okay, but does it hard to do the to do does it hard to do the to solve the equation on linear programming?
well, solving the equation is not really hard. Well, understand the hard part is the understanding of the linear
Okay.
programming.
Okay, so you still need to interpret the graphic, right? So once you able to do the graphic, that's not enough. You still have to interpret the graphic. Am I right?
Yes, it's like that.
Okay. Okay. So, very interesting, Rifki. I hope that someone can inspired by your work. Okay. Next, we have Luna. Sorry. Next, we have Arya. Arya Gaung Genta Jiwa. Arya, are you ready?
Yes, miss.
Hi, Arya. How are you
Hi,
doing?
miss. I'm good.
You're good. So, what is your project all about, Arya?
It's an essay I did for a term 3 English, which is about the book I Am Legend. Specifically, the topic that I discussed was loneliness. So yeah,
Which really applies during this pandemic.
yes.
Okay, so let's check Arya's work about his English essay.
And I'm going to talk about my essay for my Term 3 English summative. For last term's English summative, we were given a task to make an essay related to the book I Am Legend. I Am Legend is a novel written by Richard Matheson about a man named Robert Neville who is the only person to survive the after effects of a nuclear war. The nuclear war mutated the human gene and turned them into vampires. In the novel, we learn about Robert's experiments, encounters, but one of the main topics of the novel is his loneliness. Weeks leading to the summative, we had quizzes and activities related to analyzing the novel. We did this so that we understand the novel better, so when trying to write the essay, we know what to write about. And for the essay, we were given 4 topics to choose from, and I chose the topic about loneliness, since that topic stood out for me and because I feel like a lot of people, especially during this pandemic, can be lonely. For some people, being alone might be hard, but sometimes we can do certain activities or interact with other people to relieve our loneliness. However, for Robert Neville, those things are impossible for him. We can connect this with what's going on right now during this pandemic. A lot of us can't go outside and do activities or interact with each other. And according to a survey done in the UK, 1 out of 4 adults in the UK had experienced loneliness during the pandemic. Although this survey was done in the UK, we are all experiencing the same thing, so the ratio for Indonesians are probably not that different. While reading the book, the one question I always have on every page is why does he even bother living with no one to work or to live for? And after thinking about it, the answer would probably be that he already made it so far. For him, giving up would just be a waste because he has been living alone, researching, experimenting, surviving for a very long time and made it further than anyone. And I feel that a lot of people, especially in these hard times, are just ready to give up. But we've already been trying to hold on and stay strong for over a year. That giving up now is just a waste of our efforts. Time management is important for Robert Neville. One of the importance of having a schedule for Neville is for him to keep track of time. Instead of drifting through the day, having certain activities at certain times can be good for him because this helps him to know when to go out and when to stay inside to avoid getting killed. Interestingly, this is related to my challenges that I had when writing the essay, which is procrastination and my time management. When I was writing the essay, I procrastinate a lot and say that I'm going to do it later, and usually stressing last minute to finish the assignment on time. But I try to keep myself motivated and believe that I can finish the essay and be relieved and proud that I did it after. This post-apocalyptic novel definitely discussed loneliness interestingly, and I really enjoyed the novel and how we can connect it to our situation. As a human, we at least experience loneliness once, and as a living creature who usually tends to rely on others, loneliness can sometimes be hard. We constantly need support from others and interactions with others, and being alone like Neville can be a nightmare for me. As an addition, I just want to remind everyone to check up on your friends and family because the feeling of being alone isn't something for everyone.
Thank you, Arya. So, you read the novel, right? The novel itself is already adapted into a movie, right? So, was it hard
Yes.
to read the novel?
Not really.
Not really,
Mhm.
but uh, is it how many pages do you still remember? I am Legend. How many
No.
pages was it? You don't
No.
know. But did you read from the start until finish?
Yes.
And then which chapter that impressed you the most?
I forgot the chapter, but I remember a part where I don't want to say too much because I think this is kind of a spoiler. But in some part, he met someone, and the story got interesting from them. So
Okay. So that's the
mhm,
part that impressed you the most on the
yes,
novel.
because it was really
Okay.
interesting after that. After he met that person, it was really interesting, the story.
You mean after he met another human, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's really interesting how you relate the novel into our recent condition, which is the pandemic. So, and your last message also very strong that you said that you everyone should check on your friends. So, how was it going in according to you? Does people rarely to check on their friends or family, or how was
I
it?
don't know, Miss, but they really need to check on friends and family because yes, it's like a pandemic. We can go out, and some people are feeling very lonely because I saw like a lot of articles about a lot of people actually feeling loneliness. So just check up on friends and family because just let them know that you are there for them and that you are going through the same thing as what they're going through.
Okay, thank you very much, Arya. Next we have Luna. Hi, Luna.
Hi, Miss.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Miss?
I'm good too. So, how is it? What can you tell me about? What can you tell the audience about your project?
My project is similar to Arya's, which is my English summative, but instead mine will be focusing on the destructive behaviors in living in solitary through the book I Am Legend.
So it's you have a different point of view. I'm with
Yes,
Arya, right? So it's
yes,
the same novel but different point of view. Okay,
yes.
let's check out your video.
Okay.
Living in Cikal, Serpong. And I'm going to be talking about the dangers of destructive behaviors through the book I Am Legend. So let's get through it. So, as the pandemic wears on, there are so many ongoing public health protocols that is necessary for us to follow. But staying at home, quarantine, all of that really made an impact for a lot of people because isolation could cause many mental health impacts to us. And also for students, maybe for some of you who also experience this, that there are a lot of difficulties that we go through during online class because we are not used to it and we're not familiar with it, that we're overwhelmed with the assignments, that we have stress, we have burnout, and all of that really links to the given circumstances that we have right now. And all of that causes the lack of motivation and maybe your grades dropping or maybe just skipping online classes because you don't feel like going. And all of that really connects how we are living in the pandemic. So, isolation in the pandemic is one of the aspects that we go through daily, and it is also one of the aspects that Robert Neville, the main character of I Am Legend, goes through. So, I Am Legend tells a story about the last man on Earth in a zombie apocalypse or a vampire apocalypse in the novel. And it is really interesting for me because as I was reading the book, it really resonated with how we are living right now, our current living situation with the pandemic. And sure, maybe we're not the last humans on Earth, but it really resonates with how living in solitary, living in a pandemic, or being quarantined, being stuck home, how it changed us, how it has changes to our behaviors, the destructive ones or maybe the good ones. The reason why I chose this is because as I was reading it, I get to analyze myself, why I act a certain way in the pandemic and why we have behaviors that we act now before and not that we don't have before. So the first and foremost, we were supposed to read this book for the semester in English class. And personally, I like literature and I like reading, so it is not a difficulty for me. And how we analyze this book is how the fundamentals of analyzing a book is. So you just have to learn the characters, learn the settings, the plot, and all of that. And that is also the interiors of a book. But in order to fully understand the book, I feel like you need to learn the author and you need to learn when the book was published and what events was leading up to it. So yeah, that's what we did for the couple of weeks for English class. was we just learned the book. We really learned the insides and the outsides of the book. And at first, I really thought it was unnecessary and unimportant because it was taking too long to just read a book. But all of that really leads to us fully understanding the book, and I felt like making the book responses easier because we already know the book by memory. So what in the book is that I learned that one of the destructive behaviors that this main character experiences because because he is living in he's living in solitary is that he consumes amounts of alcohol as his defense because he suffered through loss, and he also lives alone, and it really made an impact on him. So to keep him company away is that he drinks excessive amount of alcohol, and then he would get into episodes of breakdowns, and it wouldn't help him with the anxiety he already has through loneliness. And what I learned is that he also smokes a lot, and it could also lead to his mental health because those destructive behaviors can, especially when you start doing them in a pandemic, and not only for alcohol consumption or smoking, but there are a lot of destructive behaviors that we do to cope loneliness in this pandemic that I realize, and it is not good because there are a lot more healthier coping mechanisms that we can go through. Just because it feels good, it doesn't mean it has good impacts on the future. That is what I see through Robert Neville while reading the book. Because every time he feels hopeless, every time he wants to relive memories of his family's passing, he would consume alcohol to numb his pain. And I feel like many people have other destructive behaviors to relive certain memories in their life before the pandemic or before the loss they experienced this year and last year. And I think it is not healthy. And I also asked Miss Anya, our Year 11 PSC counselor, her take on destructive behaviors in the pandemic. And she said that pandemic brings change for most of us. And I asked her questions about how the pandemic has brought change or has invented new destructive behaviors. And then she said that behavior might be a coping mechanism of depression that is caused by the pandemic. Some people do that in terms of pleasure. They might think it will give a sense of happiness or an escape from the cruel world they experience. And it's interesting because that really resonates with us, and it also resonates with the book. One of the obstacles I experienced is that I had difficulties managing my time. I have bad time management through the majority of the semester, not only on English class, and it really made an impact on how I balance my school life and my daily life, because then I would have a lot of assignments that I would just do in one day, and then I wouldn't do them in actual school hours. And I really need to learn from that because I need to have a balanced lifestyle. And because of the overwhelming assignments that I don't do, that sometimes I just run away from my responsibilities because I get so overwhelmed sometimes that I feel like I couldn't possibly do it in one go, which I eventually did. But because of that mindset, I just don't do them sometimes, and it's bad. But I was also experiencing terrible burnout and just stress in general. And I also couldn't focus on doing the assignment, which is interesting enough because I like writing and I like reading, I like literature, but because of this, I couldn't find the joy in literature anymore, ironically. And I was reading the half first half of the book really like I really didn't want to do it, but I overcame it. I overcame my excessive burnout by just taking time off from myself, time off from social media, time off from a lot of things, and just taking care of myself, and also doing my assignments slowly because I needed to do them at the end. And then, yeah, and then it took a lot of the stress away, like talking to my friends and just being with the people I care and being with people I like. And I became more motivated to do my assignments. And yeah, so my favorite part of doing all of this assignment, is that I found the joy in like reading again, and I really have a new perspective on how to analyze a novel more deeply and like comprehend it better. And I get to take literature into a whole new level of understanding, and it's also thanks to all of the practice assignments and all of the quizzes that we did on this semester that really helped a lot on having a new method of analyzing a book, which is really important. And from reading the book alone, there are so many things that I learned from just doing this assignment alone, is that we were constantly challenged to find new insights in class, and that really challenged me to be better every other class meeting. And then it gave me like just that comfort in the stress of the pandemic, the stress of all of this. And it was really overall fun to experience, even though um, there were many obstacles and there were many distractions. And yeah, at days I didn't want to do the assignment, not only English but just a lot of other subjects. But at the end, I overcame it. So yeah, this was really joyful experience. Thank you for listening.
So yeah, that is my talk, and I hope everyone learns something from it as much as I did.
Thank you. It's a very thorough reflection.
Thank you.
And it's really interesting that from a novel we can have like different point of view, especially
Yes.
to analyze the novel. So and you said that it's about disruptive behavior, right? From
Yeah.
the I forgot what is the who's the name of the character of I Am Legend?
Robert Neville.
Robert Neville. Okay,
Yeah.
disruptive behavior from Robert Neville. So, uh, what I'm sure that right now you have a social media, right?
Yes.
Do you think that the use of social media during the pandemic it's becoming a disruptive behavior? What do you think?
I think social media plays a part in affecting our mental health, because in social media you can only see what other people post, and sometimes you comment on things that you don't really mean, or you're not you can't say that in real life to someone. So yeah, I think it does ruin your mental health a lot.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Luna. Now we are going to continue with our Q&A session. I believe We already have some question here. Okay, let's return back our speaker. We have question from Bu Ami. Uh, it's for Arya. Arya, as far as all of us living during this pandemic situation, have you ever experienced being lonely since most of our schools activities are online?
Uh, the answer is yes. Obviously, I think that we all probably had experienced loneliness, but I'm happy that I have family at home and that I sometimes call with my friend and still text and everything of group chat. So yeah, but I experience loneliness sometimes, especially because I'm an only
Okay.
child. So
But how do you guys overcome it? I'm sure all of you have felt a loneliness in some extent in during this pandemic. You can answer it all. How do you overcome the loneliness? Arya first.
well, I just text my friends, I guess. I just talk with someone, and yeah, to feel less lonely, I interact with my mom even or my grandma.
Okay, how about you, Lun?
I try to spend some time with my friends. Like I check up on them, maybe even more than before the pandemic.
Okay,
So yeah.
yeah, that's cool. Fikri, what do you think? How do you come loneliness during the this pandemic?
Or I just play my phone all the time.
You
Most
just play with your phone.
yeah,
So what application do you usually open on your phone?
yeah. Between YouTube or Netflix,
Oh,
things to
okay.
watch
So
mostly.
you watch video, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think everyone has their own way to cope with this loneliness of this pandemic. Uh, some of the way maybe some one way may work for one people and not work for other people. But you need to find you still need to find a way to cope with this loneliness. Okay.
Yes.
Next question, we have question from Bu Imes. If you had chance to improve your work, what would you do differently? Let's start with trickery.
Uh, Maybe I would improve my presentation audio.
Your presentation audio, cool. But how about your work, your project?
I think my project is already complete for the presentation.
Complete.
I think just
Okay.
for the video
Oh,
and
it's
audio.
just for the video for the presentation. Does the project is your summative?
No, it's not my sound. Yes,
It's
it's
oh,
not.
it's not so. So it's just something that you learned during this term, right? Or
Yes,
previous term.
yes,
Okay,
something like
thank you. Okay, Arya, you're up next.
Um, for my work, for my project, I guess I have nothing to change because I'm pretty satisfied with it. But the process, I guess my time management and my procrastination, because I kind of submitted the assignment kind of late. So probably just my time management and my procrastination.
So it is a late submission or on time?
It's kind of a late submission.
It's kind of late submission. Why do you mind to tell us why does it happen?
Because I procrastinate a lot.
Okay. Yes, but you overcome it, right? You get a bounce back.
Mhm.
You bounce back to the right track. Okay, Luna, what do you think? What will you improve from your work?
Um, Maybe same as Aria's, like I would not change my work, but I would like to spend more time into doing it because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like if I had more time, I would use more comprehensive grammar.
Comprehensive grammar. Very good. That's for your essay, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Fikri also work on this English project, right? The English essay.
yeah.
I have a question for three of you. After you read this novel outside the English program, would you like to read other novel? And what is it?
I mean, personally, I enjoy reading books, so yeah, I would read more books.
You will read more book. What kind of book will you read in the future? Luna?
I like reading like psychological thrillers.
Psychological. Well, okay, very good. Arya?
I don't really like reading.
You don't really like reading. So, what would you like to read another novel outside the English program?
I guess if it's really interesting, read it. If someone tells me like I have to read it because it's really good, then I'll read it. But I'm not really a reader.
Okay. You're not really a reader. Okay, thank you. How about you, Fikri? Would you like to
Well,
read other novel outside the English program, outside the class?
I also not interested in reading books either. So yeah.
Okay, so you Arya and Fikri prefer to see the movie than reading. And if
Yes.
there's a movie that based on a novel, so you will prefer to see the movie than reading it. Am I right?
Yes.
That's true.
Um,
Okay. Okay. We have other question here from Pak Chai Indra. Okay, it's for Arya. Hi Arya, after reading the book closely. After reading the book closely, what advice can you share to your peers who may experience loneliness at this difficult time?
Probably just it's normal to experience loneliness, and that actually you're not lonely because everyone's here for you. There's always someone who's there for you, and just because we are all experience the same thing. And don't give up because we already did this for like over a year. We already been through this, so whatever's gonna come, I think we can overcome it.
Okay, very good advice. Okay, do you, Luna, do you want to add, or Fikri, do you want to add?
I think Arya's information is already thorough enough, Miss.
Sorry, true enough. Okay, Fikri, you want to add something?
no additional information needed.
No additional information. Okay, last question from the audience is also from Chai Indra. Guys, what do you not like about this novel?
Um,
It
Um,
can be a play for three of you. Okay, just jump in if you want to answer.
Typically, I won't read these type of books, like zombie, vampire, apocalypse things. Like that doesn't really spark my interest. So like, if this wasn't a school assignment, I won't look for it.
Okay, even though it's already a big hit movie,
I do not like the movie.
you don't like the movie either.
I
Okay.
don't like the movie.
Oh, you don't like movie. Okay, cool. Okay, Alia, what you don't,
uh, I said
what
what I said. I
do
don't
you
like
not
reading.
like?
So,
You don't.
He doesn't
so
like reading in
I
general,
like the
Miss.
novel. I like the novel, but yeah, I like the novel. There's nothing like I hate about it.
Okay.
I just hate reading. That's it.
Yeah, okay. How about how about short stories?
I guess yeah, I would read short stories.
You will read short stories.
Mhm.
Okay. How about you, Fikri?
I don't have any dislikes of the
You
book.
don't have any particular dislike, or you seem like you feel the same like Arya that I just don't like the way how you just don't like to read it. You read the novel. Do you feel
I
the
rather
same
watch the
way?
movie.
You read a watch movie. Do you feel the same way too, Fikri?
Well, at the time I was reading the book, I was kind of interested in the book, in the story.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so the author itself put some interesting story on the novel. Okay, thank you very much, guys, for sharing. I believe do we still have other question? Okay, I don't think there's another question. So thank you very much, guys, for sharing. So let's give a final round of. Oh, sorry. Okay, so let I thought I heard some noise. Okay, so let's give a final round of virtual applause for our speaker today. Yay! today, who have done a wonderful job at presenting their learning journey this year. It's wonderful to hear different insight the students have gained throughout this interesting year, uh, we learn it through mainly through virtual classroom. Okay, with that, all of the presenter have done presenting their journey. Next, we are going to close this session, and it's a very delightful to see such impactful and powerful project of all presenters during this presentation. So, let's give the presenters today another virtual round of applause and words of encouragement for their achievement. Okay, I would like to remind you all that this event doesn't stop today, even though today is the last day of Playground of Learning Journey. Uh, After this session, there will be a closing on main room, and also you can browse through our virtual gallery on our website. And you can check other students learning journey on our website, and also check our available stream event on Sekolah Cikal official YouTube. And lastly, I would like to say thank you one more time to all the presenters, the audience here today, fellow students, proud parents, and also respected guests. Thank you for having me as your host, and good afternoon, and see you. Thank you, guys. Bye. Bye.
Sambut mentari, nyalakan layar, belajar lagi.
Sudah rindu kembali ke sekolah, tak sabar ingin segera bertemu lagi.
Meskipun jauh namun di hati, tawa candamu selalu temani.
Meski tak langsung menatapmu kawan, semangat belajarku takkan pernah padam.
Walau hanya di rumah saja, takkan padam semangat di jiwa. Perjalanan yang ku lalui, kan ku bagi kisahnya denganmu nanti.
One word for remote learning is challenging.
Kesan aku untuk online learning ini, it's been really fun. I've enjoyed every last bit of it.
Belajar online tuh nggak seru karena nggak bisa ketemu bu guru dan teman-teman.
This, in my online learning journey, I've discovered my passion, hobby. I've developed my skills, improved my education, and skills in subjects.
In my opinion, remote learning helps me to be more independent in my learning journey.
We can all get something from this online learning. That's why in this online learning, I've been focused on myself and my education.
Halo Mama dan Papa. Halo dan. Halo Bapak Ibu. Mau tahu aku ngapain aja? Yuk datang dan saksikan
hasil karya aku dan teman-temanku di
Playground Learning Journey. Physically distant,
virtually connected.